Senator Tregenza Roach, I recognize for your 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening to my colleagues, to the staff of the legislature, to those in the chambers, to those listening and viewing. You know, some people refer to the United States as a democracy. But legally, the United States is a republic. It's a republic because in a republic you have the concern with what is called the tyranny of the majority. And you balance that against a constitution that protects the rights of all people, including those who are not fortunate enough to be in the majority. So the majority makes rules, takes time to put the rules together, presents them to the minority, but they already have enough votes to adopt them, so it doesn't really matter what the minority thinks. And then when it's necessary, deemed by the majority, then the majority says, let's not follow the rules. America. Let's not follow the rules. We make them, and we can decide that we're not going to follow them. There are dangerous precedents in that. We did that the other day when we waived the rules to strip a senator of his preemptive rights, or at least abridge them. And I purposely stayed out of the discussion because I thought it was appropriate that a member of the majority was the one who was raising the issues about the rule being violated. I thought that was very appropriate. And most of us missed it. It's on the record, so I'm not really calling her out. But in reading the rule, the legal counsel did say blah, blah, blah. And I want to emphasize that because, in a sense, she might as well say blah, 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 because what does the rule mean? What does the rule really mean? You might as well read it as blah, blah, blah if it's not your intention to abide by it, right? And I think that's unfortunate. And I think we ought to proceed a little bit more carefully with when we set up these sessions, because I don't know if it's a session called by the president or whether it was a session called by petition, because I never saw the petition. And the rule that says the bill accompanying the agenda that was supposed to be presented last Wednesday, I got it this afternoon, or sometime before noon. I think it came into the office, but certainly not enough time to review it and to make an informed decision about how I should vote on it. My position on GERS is clear. I believe that what the actuary said with regard to the Tier 2 employees is that they're going to pay 30% more for a package that's going to be worth 30% less. One, and two, I don't believe that any of this is effective without the infusion of capital that the system testified that it needs, and we have seen no discussions about whether we're going to go forward as a government with these pension obligation bonds. I also objected to investments outside of the country. The people testified that the system has performed well with regard to the national averages for pension systems of this type. So I'm not going to support the retirement bill. I believe that it is unfair to the employees who joined the system. We seem it was a rush to cut them off before October 1. I don't know, we didn't meet that deadline, so I don't know what the rush is today. But I think we ought to proceed more carefully with regard to the changes that we're going to make. I'm probably going to vote for the insurance policy renewal. It has already been renewed anyway. And so voting no to it today would be meaningless. I see on the faces of my colleagues, although you have triumphed, I know that it's something that you think about seriously, and I think you should think about it seriously, because the rules exist for a purpose. And even though I don't participate in crafting them as you all have, they do give the members an assurance that we're going to proceed in an orderly way with regard to the affairs of this body. And every time you vote to waive them because it has not been followed, it is a period of disappointment, and I want to be disappointed less. Thank you, Mr. President.